You're not allowed to enter movie theaters, music or concert venues, adult entertainment. Let's skip ahead to museums and galleries, convention centers, exhibition halls, performing arts theaters, indoor play area. No, and other recreational game centers. Why those? And so, like, why those are so important is because what is going to museum? It's more than just recreation. Going to a museum, going to a movie, going to a theater, this is more than just recreation. When you're going to a museum, you're going to the movie theater, you're going to plays, you're exercising your First Amendment rights. Now, a lot of people don't realize that because a lot of people just think, okay, my First Amendment right, like my freedom of speech, means I get to say whatever I want to say. You know, but there's a principle of free speech that I was aware of and that most people don't think about. But there's a principle of free speech that doesn't just apply to your ability to speak, but it also applies to your ability to receive speech. And when we're talking about speech, it's not necessarily just speech. It could be speech, it could be written, the written word, it could be drawings, video, all kinds of, these are all forms of speech. But like I said, the First Amendment doesn't apply only for your ability to make this art, to make videos, to write words, to write books. It also applies to your ability to receive books, to receive this speech, to see these movies. So the key to New York City, by telling people that if you were unvaccinated, you could not go to movie theaters, was a violation of the First Amendment. And I was like, wait a minute. Like I did the research, found this, and it's like, this is clear. This is a home run, an absolute home run out the park. Like there's no question. So remember what I said. I couldn't go into court arguing, oh, my body, my choice. It's a frivolous argument because at no point in U.S. Supreme Court history have they espouse the principle of your body, your choice. The government can't make rules regarding your body. At no point in U.S. history. It's a frivolous argument. It will not win. But what I knew the First Amendment exists. The First Amendment, and I know what the Supreme Court has said about the First Amendment. They said, hey, you have the freedom of speech. And not only do you have the freedom to provide speech, you have the freedom to receive speech. And so, here's where the Supreme Court actually said that. As the Supreme Court has noted, freedom of speech does not only entail the ability to speak, write, and convey ideas, but also the ability to receive them. The Supreme Court has found that the right to receive ideas is a necessary predicate to the recipient's meaningful exercise of his own rights of speech, press, and political freedom. Board of Education versus Pico, U.S. Supreme Court. It has also found that the dissemination of ideas can accomplish nothing. The dissemination of ideas can accomplish nothing otherwise willing addressees are not free to receive and consider them. It would be a barren marketplace of ideas that had only sellers and no buyers. And I was like, the key to New York City is a clear and egregious violation of the First Amendment. So, guess what my first claim was? Key to New York City violates the First Amendment. And remember, like I said, New York wasn't the only one, because that's New York City did the key to New York City. Then Boston did it, Philly did it, Chicago did it. And I want you to realize that, remember, those states then suddenly just started, oh yeah, we don't need this. Early 2020, they all just said, yeah, we're done. Yeah, we don't want that. I knew that it didn't matter it wasn't just about my body, my choice, and it couldn't be about my body, my choice. I needed to attack this legislation. It's not legislation. I had to attack these executive orders on the grounds that they are clear violations of constitutionally protected freedoms. First Amendment was one of them, and that's the one. That's the freedom. This is the point that everybody needs to be paying attention to. So if you are in New York City, if you are in Chicago, if you are in Boston, Philadelphia, and you're unvaccinated, and you had to deal with these infringements, this is the beginning. This is just the beginning of how you attack. And I'm gonna point something else. When I filed for against the key to New York City, I had my service processors. So like I'm doing some other work. I have my service processors go to serve the mayor. They go to serve him on February 15th. They get to City Hall. City Hall tells them, "Oh no, you can't serve at this entrance of the building. You have to serve at a different entrance." Okay. So my service processors go to the other entrance. A couple of days later, my service processors go to the other entrance. Oh no, you can't go to this entrance. Yeah, you got to go someplace else. Finally, do you know when my service processor is finally able to serve Eric Adams with because now he's already has a copy of the TRO. He already has a copy of the complaint, but official service with the summons and everything because the court has given me the summons that I have to officially serve him and get the affidavit and all that stuff on the record that he's been given notice of this case. That doesn't happen till after. This doesn't happen until 2 days after Eric Adams announces he's ending the key to New York City. That's when he accepts service. That's when he accepts service for this lawsuit. But let me continue. See, I also pointed out that the key to New York City infringes on the freedom of assembly. The right to associate freely is implicated when government actions interfere with an organization engaged in activities protected by the First Amendment, such as speech, assembly, redress of grievances, and exercise of religion. And so I want to bring you back to something in the executive order. Indoor entertainment and recreational settings. These are the prohibited places, right? So it includes convention centers and exhibition halls. Do you know what happens in convention centers? In hotels, convention centers, these venues? Political meetings, political conventions. The key to New York City was prohibiting people from gathering in political meetings because these are the indoor settings that people are, and even indoor restaurants people will use. People will use, like, we've used restaurants to have meetings, political meetings. So the key to New York City in prohibiting this activity from unvaccinated people was not just infringing on freedom of speech, but also freedom of assembly and freedom of association and freedom to engage in political activities. Like, it ran afoul of the Constitution to such a degree, they knew they couldn't win. They knew they had no chance. But here's the key. You see, yes, I am suing the New York City for the key to New York City, and I'm also suing for the private employer mandate now. But I'm not just suing for injunctive relief. I'm not just suing for declarative relief for them to say, "Oh, this law needs to stop." I'm also suing for damages. And that's the key. I'm suing for damages. And this is why I want every unvaccinated person to pay attention to this. Because if you were wronged, if your rights were violated by these policies, why wouldn't you seek accountability? Have them held accountable for what was a gross and egregious violation of your constitutional freedoms. Simple. I mean, it's obvious. It's easy. It's simple. It's plain.
Thank you for checking out this clip of Escaping the Echo Chamber. For the full live stream, you can click on the screen now, or you can click on the link in the description box below. I'll see you next time.